Out of the Cage, Escaping the Prison of Irrelevance. No one wants to feel irrelevant. We may say otherwise. We may pretend it doesn't matter. We may tell ourselves that we are beyond the need for recognition, beyond the desire to be useful, beyond the hope that our presence still makes a difference. But deep within us, most people want to know that their lives matter. We want to believe that our experiences, our relationships, our memories, our struggles, and our hard-earned wisdom still have value. And yet, many people slowly choose to feel irrelevant. This does not happen generally all at once. It happens gradually. A role ends. A career slows down. Children grow up. Friends move away or pass away. The world changes faster than we are comfortably to follow. Technology alters how people communicate. Institutions shift. Younger voices rise. The mirror offers reminders we did not ask for. The body does not perform with the same certainty it once did. At some point, a quiet voice can begin to whisper, "Maybe I no longer matter." If that whisper is believed often enough, it becomes more than a passing sadness. It becomes an attitude. Then it becomes an identity. Eventually, it becomes a cage. In my book, Out of the Cage, is of course rooted in my life with orangutans, conservation, and the long journey of trying to understand what captivity and freedom really mean. But the cage is not only a physical structure. Some of the strongest cages in life are invisible. They are made of fear, regret, shame, resentment, anger, comparison, and false beliefs about who we are. The mind can imprison itself with a remarkable efficiency. A person may be physically free and psychologically confined. They may have a home, family, memories, and opportunities still before them, yet live inside a belief that their useful life is over. They may look at the world and decide it has moved on without them. They may conclude that because they're no longer central, they are no longer significant. That is a dangerous misunderstanding. Being central and being significant are not the same thing. A rainforest does not depend on its tallest trees. It depends on the soil, the fungi, the fallen leaves, the insects, the roots, the decaying wood, the hidden network of life beneath the surface. Much of what sustains the forest is not immediately visible. The same is true of human communities. Elders, mentors, quiet supporters, storytellers, donors, volunteers, parents, teachers, and people who have lived long enough to see patterns repeat all hold a form of relevance that's easy to overlook, but difficult to replace. To feel irrelevant in later life is understandable. To accept irrelevance as truth is another matter. There is a difference between a feeling and a fact. One of the greatest tasks of aging is to stop confusing the two. But this psychological prison is not limited to older people. In fact, one of the tragedies of our time is that many young people are building their own cages much earlier in life. Their cages may not be made of retirement, declining health, or loss of old roles. Their cages are often built from comparison performance, anxiety, social media, ideological certainty, loneliness, perfectionism, and the constant pressure to define themselves before they have had enough life experience to know who they really are. Many young people are told, directly or indirectly, that they must be exceptional to matter. They must have a brand, a platform, a flawless image, an opinion on every issue, a career path that sounds impressive, a body that meets impossible standards, and a life that appears meaningful to strangers. This is not freedom. It's captivity dressed up as self-expression. The cage has changed shape. For some, the prison is the belief that they are not attractive enough. For others, it is that they're not successful enough, not pure enough, not wealthy enough, not original enough, not wounded enough, not visible enough, or not loved enough. Some trap themselves in resentment, some in despair, some in cynicism, some in the need to be constantly validated, some in the fear that one mistake will define them forever. Older people may fear becoming invisible. Younger people may fear being seen incorrectly. Both fears can become cages. The common thread is the surrender of inner freedom. When we allow the world to define our worth entirely from the outside, we hand over the key to our own cage. We wait for applause, approval, attention, or permission. We measure ourselves against people whose lives we barely understand. We mistake noise for meaning. We confuse usefulness with status. We forget that purpose is rarely discovered by staring at ourselves. It's usually found by turning outward. Purpose grows when we serve something beyond our own ego. This is one of the lessons conservation has taught me again and again. The work to protect orangutans and rainforests is not about personal glory. It's often slow, frustrating, underfunded, and filled with setbacks. Forests are destroyed faster than they're restored. Young people need scholarships year after year. Communities need trust before they embrace change. Governments shift, donors come and go. Progress is real, but it's rarely neat. And yet the work matters. It matters because life matters. It matters because the future matters. It matters because what we protect today may outlive us. It matters because relevance is not measured only by what we receive, but what we help continue. And that is also true in an individual life. A person who mentors one young person is relevant. A person who repairs one relationship is relevant. A person who tells the truth with kindness is relevant. A person who plants a tree, supports a cause, teaches a child, comforts a friend, writes a memory, shares wisdom, or refuses to become bitter is relevant. Relevant does not require fame. It requires connection. The challenge is that many people would rather remain in a familiar cage than risk the uncertainty of freedom. A cage can become strangely comfortable. If I believe I am irrelevant, I do not have to try. If I believe I'm too old, too young, too damaged, too late, too ordinary, I can avoid the discomfort of responsibility. I can blame the world for locking me away when, in truth, I may be holding the door shut from the inside. That is the unspoken truth. Sometimes irrelevance is not imposed on us. Sometimes it is chosen because it protects us from the risk of re-engagement. Freedom asks something of us. It asks us to participate again. It asks us to forgive ourselves for the years we wasted. It asks us to stop rehearsing the story of our own disappearance. It asks us to be useful in ways that may be humble rather than dramatic. It asks us to accept that our next chapter may not look like our previous one. For young people, freedom may mean stepping away from the prison of comparison and asking, what do I actually care about when no one is watching? For older people, freedom may mean asking, how can I turn what I have lived through into something that helps others? For all of us, freedom begins when we question the beliefs that have quietly confined us. The orangutan in a cage does not need a philosophy of liberation. It needs the door opened, the forest protected, and the chance to live according to its nature. Human beings are more complicated. Sometimes the door is already open, but we do not walk through it because we have forgotten what freedom feels like. Sometimes we have lived so long inside a story of limitation that the open forest frightens us more than the bars. Out of the cage is not only a title, it is an invitation. It asks us to consider what cages we have accepted. It asks whether our beliefs still serve life or whether they merely preserve fear. It asks whether we are willing to reclaim the responsibility of being free. No one is irrelevant who is still capable of love, learning, service, courage, or change. No one is irrelevant who can still bear witness. No one is irrelevant who can help another being move closer to freedom. The world does not need all of us to be famous, young, powerful, beautiful, or endlessly productive, but it does need us to be awake. It needs elders who refuse to disappear into bitterness. It needs young people who refuse to confuse digital performance with human worth. It needs communities that remember that wisdom and imagination belong together. It needs people who understand that freedom is not merely the absence of bars, but the presence of purpose. We do not escape the cage by denying that we have been confined. We escape by recognizing the bars, questioning who built them, and deciding whether we are still willing to live behind them. The door may be closer than we think.